23 degrees. Guys, welcome back. I'm glad to have you back. And guess what? We're doing another overnighter. It is officially spring, finally. So, yep, you know it, we're doing overnighter. This is our first overnighter for the spring of 2022. So, yeah, so check this out. So, as you saw up there, came over the fence there. That's where we camped out our last camp out. Came down a little farther. And I was going to camp up over there through this ravine, but I have this nice little area here, and I got plenty of trees. I got plenty of firewood all around me, so I think this is going to be our spot. And we're doing a certain type shelter for this overnighter, as you saw in the description. So this is a shelter I've not done yet, and I've got permission from my family's neighbor to be back here because we're on a different part of the land, so we're on somebody else's property, but I got permission, so that's good. Always make sure you get permission. All right, with that said, we're gonna get this shelter going, and so enjoy the show, guys. Cold Steel Special Forces shovel. Okay, we got some poison ivy here. It's got to come down because we're gonna be wrapping paracord around here. So why not use a cold steel shovel? Whew, that was a little bit of work. So, you guys are probably wondering why I have a question mark next to my thumbnail. It's because, I'm out of breath. It's because I've never done a shelter like this, and I'm not for sure where this shelter comes from because there's only 2 guys on YouTube that do this type of shelter. And the first place I saw it was Bushcraft Buddy. It's a bushcrafter guy in Germany or Australia or Austria. And I saw that, I was like, oh, that's awesome. He called it a German Special Forces shelter. I've looked everywhere on the internet, books and everything. I cannot find this shelter set up. So that's kind of what we're doing tonight. Well, today. But we're using an Ecotat and a USGI space blanket. So yeah, I'm a little nervous because it's the Ecotat. So anyways, let's get on with it. But I figured I'd just bring in, give you a little scoop on that while I catch my breath because that cold steel shovel wore me out. Okay, so I need to get my USGI Casualty blanket. It's called, I call it space blanket, but it's a casualty blanket. And by the way, this is my spring summer survival pack, which we'll talk about here later on. But I changed and I've added some stuff to it. Here's the one half of the shelter. We have a USGI Casualty blanket. And these are made not to do what we're doing. These are very fragile. They're casualty blankets. They're not made to do this, but we're using it anyways because it's military surplus. Military surplus is awesome. So what I did here is I made the crucifix knot, and I used a small bungee here. And then we have a gap that's gonna be right here, all the way across. And this is, remember if I showed you my last video, see how I can tighten her up like that, make it loose. So that's the crucifix knot. That's what we did. Right now, we're gonna dig a fire pit right there. There it is, the Ecotat made by Wiggy's. Well, here it is, guys, the Ecotat Commando Special Forces shelter. It's definitely been some trial and error with this thing. Give you guys a little 360 view of it all without tripping over myself. Okay, so the other two guys I've seen on YouTube, they use a poncho. Well, I'm actually using the Ecotat, which is a poncho. It can be transformed to a poncho, and it's a little bit bigger than a poncho, so it gives us a little bit more room. Here, I just went ahead and put some bank line, drew me a guideline out to this tree right here, which that kind of brings the poncho or the Ecotat out. And then this corner was looking pretty good. But over here, to bring this corner out here, I put some bank line there. Okay. So basically the idea of the shelter is that you have a fire right here. The fire reflects off the space blanket, and then I'll be right over here sleeping, and it reflects on me and keeps me warm. However, like I said, this has been kind of a trial and error. I use bungee cords right here, and I use bungee cords on this, so I have a gap, basically just one big gap there in the center, so all the smoke will come out. The only thing I gotta be careful about is the fire. The sparks coming up and hitting the poncho, because it's I think the original Ecotats were a fire retardant material. I'm not sure if this one is. I believe this is one that it's made by Wiggy's, but it's made for the military. But the fabric's different than the Ecotats, the other one that I have. So I'm not for sure if it's the same type of material. So I'd be very careful. Hence, that's why we dug the hole, so that I can have a little bit of fire and it's down deeper. And we gotta be careful what kind of wood we're gonna burn. So it'll be an experiment tonight. So yeah. Oh yeah, that's a Silky Ultra XL. That saw is one tough saw. Look at that. Oh, that's awesome. There we go. Oh man, that's like butter. And that's hedgewood. That stuff is hard as can be. That's why you guys need a cold steel special forces shovel. Pretty much got everything chopped up. We're gonna use my cold steel SRK SK5 steel, and we're gonna make some feather sticks. I said to have these longer, that way when you're making your feather sticks, you have all that room to work with. Whereas if you're just using a short stick, you're like this. Yeah, it works, but I think it's gonna work a lot better this way, so. And this is what I ended up with. Real fine feather shavings like that. And this stuff is very hard wood, but it actually makes great feather sticks though. Okay, I think we're pretty much good on wood and everything. Here's our little wood pile for the night. That's all I need. I think I'm taking a little break, guys. So I hope you guys are having fun so far. I know that I am. And this has definitely been a lot of trial and error getting the shelter set up. So let me get back to when we first started this video. I said it's springtime. Well, it is springtime. It's springtime. However, today is Sunday, the 27th of March, and that is the low for tonight. 23 degrees. You see it there? 23, and it's supposed to be a high of 42 today. So it is pretty darn warm out right now. So, like I said in the beginning, I'm using my spring summer survival pack, and because winter's over with. However, it's still cold tonight, so I had to switch some things up. I had to bring a little more than I usually would, and that goes with my sleeping bag, which is my 40 winks is what we're using. I wasn't using a patrol sleeping bag, the USGI one, but with it being that cold, I had to bring the 40 winks, and I brought my MSS Goretex bivy. So that is what we are sleeping with tonight. Yeah, it's crazy weather here in March, so, but I like the cold. But I'm going to kick back for a little bit, guys, and I think after I kick back and relax, we'll go ahead and get a little fire going, and we'll talk about what kind of fire we're going to have and what the purpose of this fire is. So I'll see you guys here in about 1 second your time, probably about an hour my time. With this type of fire, it's not going to be very big. That's also why I dug a hole to keep it as low as I can without hitting this casualty blanket. But also, I don't want the sparks to hit my Ecotat shelter. And I could use a poncho, but I'm the only one that's going to have one of these shelters done with an Ecotat. So why not me be the first guy to do it, right? So I've got to be very careful on how we do this. Now with this type of fire, I'm not trying to use it to keep warm. A little bit, because the whole point is to reflect off this and come back onto me. But I'm mainly using it for cooking, at least for this overnighter. But one day we'll make it the fire a little bit bigger. We'll use it for keeping us warm. But honestly, if using my Ecotat, I want to take it easy on that. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some coals made, and we'll set my USGI canteen on there, and we'll have some dinner here in a little bit, okay? Another thing to keep in mind is root fires, because with this I had to dig a hole, and so you have exposed roots in the ground. So you want to be very careful with that too. You don't want to start a root fire. And in the morning I'll show you how we will well, try to eliminate getting a root fire. So I'll show you how to do that in the morning when we get up, when we put the fire out. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. So far, so good. No burn holes in the Ecotat yet. Did I say yet? I meant no. I hope never. Alright guys, I'll bring you guys back here in a little bit when we get some food cooking. I'll show you what we're going to have for dinner tonight.